Hi, my name is Allison Barton and I'm the health educator at the Moorpark College Student Health Center. Before I get started on the mindfulness presentation, I would like to tell you a little bit about the Student Health Center here at Moorpark College because a lot of students are unaware of its existence even when all of us are physically on campus. For those of you on campus this semester, this is the view of the admin building from Radar Walk with our sign in the foreground. You just walk up the stairs and go in the door. It's the first door on the left. You could also take a ramp that's located just to the left from the perspective of this picture. Because of COVID-19, the Student Health Center will have very few in-person appointments available. Most services will be delivered via telehealth by Zoom or by phone. Making a telehealth appointment is the same as making an in-person appointment. You just call the number on your screen to get started. So 805-378-1413. As you can see, there are lots of services still available via telehealth. When you've made your appointment, our staff will refer you to the Student Health Center portal to complete some registration paperwork, which you need to complete prior to your appointment. Also, when you're making your telehealth appointment, be sure to plan for privacy for the length of the entire appointment. To find the Student Health portal, follow these easy steps. First, you want to go to the Moorpark College website and scroll all the way down to the bottom until you see these buttons. Click on the Health Center button and voila, there you are. You'll land on the Student Health Center website. Just scroll down to making an appointment in this main area here, or you could just come over to the Student Health Portal menu item and click there to get to those forms. While we're here, I wanted to show you the wellness link where you'll find lots of great resources, including a link to mindfulness training. So wellness is the last one on the list right there. You may see this emblem in office windows if you're on campus or in syllabi or email signatures. It denotes that the person displaying it has been trained as an LGBTQ+ ally and is a safe person for you to talk to regardless of your gender or sexual orientation. There's a Safe Zone website with lots of on and off campus resources for LGBTQ+ people and allies. There's a link to it from our wellness tab, and also we have a tab that's LGBTQ support / safe zone, and that takes you right to the safe zone space as well. This is another of the resources you'll find on the wellness page. It'll take you to the Moorpark edition of Campus Well, an excellent online student health magazine. It has great tips for getting and staying healthy, but also has a lot of articles on health-related topics like travel safety, getting and acing a job interview, along with fun quizzes, polls, and so on. So check that out. This is a reminder that Moorpark College is 100% tobacco-free. If you need help to quit smoking, vaping, or chewing, just contact the Student Health Center for an appointment or visit our website to find other assistance under the Wellness tab. And now on to mindfulness training. To get us in the right frame of mind, let's try a quick exercise to help clear your mind developed by Dr. Margaret Wierenberg. So find yourself in a comfortable seated position, and if you feel comfortable doing it, go ahead and close your eyes. Now imagine a box with a lid, any style, any color, and in your mind's eye, take the lid off the box and set it aside. And now each time you have a thought that doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing right now, put that thought in the box. Could be that you're thinking about another class, a relationship, wondering where your car keys are, or wondering if you turned your lights off. Whatever pops into your mind, put that into your box without judgment, without judging yourself. We'll take a few moments just to capture your thoughts. one more moment. And now put the lid back on your box and fasten it to the box with tape or ribbon or a lock and key. You decide. When you've finished, put that box on the floor beside you. Those thoughts will be safe and they will come right back to you when you invite them in, but for now, your mind will be clear. And now open your eyes. So this visualization practice is excellent to do when you're experiencing a busy mind or monkey mind, as we say. Your thoughts are all over the place and it's difficult to concentrate. If you practice the box visualization daily or almost daily, the clearing of the mind happens even more rapidly. So I suggest that you give that a try. Who doesn't need to get rid of monkey mind, right? So the objectives for our presentation today are that you'll learn what mindfulness training is and that you'll be able to describe it to a friend. You'll be able to come up with some benefits of practicing mindfulness, and you'll be able to do at least one practice on your own. We'll do a couple practices today, though. So what is mindfulness anyway? Well, synonyms or definitions for mindfulness are focus, attention, being aware of the here and now, calm, or acceptance. It's pretty easy to see how focus and awareness of the here and now can help with academics, but how might acceptance and calm? So take a moment to just consider what carries your attention away in class or while studying. Often it's the stress of academic, social, family, work, life demands on your attention. So developing a way to reduce those worries or at least put them in a box for a time in order to be present is very helpful to students. So another way to think about mindfulness training is it's just practicing paying attention to one thing so that you could pay attention to anything. And mindfulness isn't sleep or relaxation technique. Its purpose is to train the brain to be calmly alert. That said, some mindfulness techniques can be used with insomnia, and a regular mindfulness training practice often reduces insomnia, anxiety, and stress. Though mindfulness training is not a particular religion or philosophy, mindfulness and meditation are common components in many belief systems. Prayer is a form of mindfulness or meditation, for example. So how does mindfulness training work? Well, in part, it works through a process called neuroplasticity, which just means that your brain changes every time you learn something new. A new neural pathway is built. And when you practice that thing over and over, that pathway gets wider and wider. This can apply to learning new information in class, but it could also be a new skill or a new reaction. For example, if you decide that you want to react to frustration or anxiety by breathing instead of getting upset and frustrated, right? You practice that daily or almost daily, and then when you're stressed or frustrated, you decide to practice breathing. That becomes the way that you manage those kinds of emotional responses or reactions. So think about it this way. Say you wanted to work on your upper body strength, so you decide to go to the gym and lift weights. So first of all, if you just go to the gym once and lift weights, that's not really going to do much for you, right? But you decide that you're going to go daily or almost daily to work out with the weights, and pretty soon you get physically stronger. But you're not just stronger at the gym when you lift weights, you're also stronger when you want to move furniture or pick up a box. And also, picking up heavy stuff makes you stronger too. So it creates a nice feedback loop. I get stronger so I can pick up heavy stuff, and when I pick up heavy stuff, I get stronger, right? In just this way, there are many techniques for practicing mindfulness to fit your circumstances and preferences. And when you practice these techniques, you'll be more able to use them as your default response in stressful situations, which in itself is practice. Well, it's as simple as breathing, but it can be kind of hard to do sometimes, so you really do have to practice it. So first, First thing is that we need to find a comfortable seated position. And by comfortable, I don't mean the position on the left. I mean a nice tall, what we call a tall, dignified seated position. So you want to get your feet flat on the floor. You want to sit up on your sit bones, those bones at the bottom of your bottom, right? You want to feel those. And shoulder blades back and down. And then if your knees are a little lower than your hips, then that helps your spine grow long, right? And then if you put your hands on your lap or let them rest on your desk or your table, that also can be helpful in maintaining this calm position. Again, you can do mindfulness training standing, walking, all different kinds of positions, lying down even if you want to. It's important for students to learn how to do mindfulness training in the classroom setting or while you're sitting at a desk reading or taking a test or things like that. So it might be a good idea to practice this in the setting where you're studying and learning now. Next, the eyes. So for some people, it's helpful to close your eyes completely when you're practicing mindfulness, especially a seated practice. I know that it's easier for me to do it with my eyes closed because I'm very distracted by visual cues, but others wish to keep their eyes open or half open. If you keep them half open, so you're kind of looking at the world through your eyelashes, it's nice to gaze at something, a spot on your desk, a pattern of the fabric of a long sleeve or a curtain. If you have wallpaper or the pattern of the plaster on your wall, that's kind of interesting, but not too interesting. Just not something that's moving. Like you don't want to have a TV show or a video game playing or look at your cat jumping around or whatever. Although I have to say a sleeping cat is probably a good choice of something to stare at while you're practicing. All right, now the breath. So we're going to just practice breathing before we do the breathing practice, if that makes sense. So if possible, with your mouth closed, take a long breath in through the nose and then even more slowly out through your nose. Notice if you have a stuffy nose, by the way, obviously you're going to breathe in and out through your mouth. Breathing is more important than, forcing breath through your nose. So we're going to do it again, and this time I want you to pay attention to how the air feels as it enters the nose. How does it feel as it leaves the nose? Where do you feel the airflow? Is it in the same place with both the in and out breath? Now, we're not used to thinking about breathing. Unfortunately, we don't have to think about breathing. It's an automatic process in our bodies. So we have to spend a little bit of time just paying attention. Did your shoulders rise and fall? Is your chest rising and falling? Maybe you feel your belly rise and fall. So we're going to take another slow breath in and out, and I really want you to pay attention to where you feel it. So let's try that. Big breath in. Slow, steady breath out. So now we're going to do a 2-minute practice, and that 2-minute practice is just going to be really paying attention to the breath. It's going to be a guided practice, which means that you're going to hear my voice periodically. And I just want to prepare you for the fact that your mind is going to wander, right? And when your mind wanders to other thoughts, I want you to label those thoughts as soon as you notice them as wandering, and I want you to then pull your thoughts right back to the breath. Try not to judge yourself. There's not, like a prize for not having your mind wander. In fact, the whole point of it is to realize that your mind will wander, and to notice it as soon as possible and pull your thoughts back to the breath. Sometimes my voice will be the thing that makes you realize that your mind has wandered, and that's the whole point of doing a guided practice. You also might notice an itch or feeling antsy. If that happens, you can choose to scratch the itch or change your position, or you could just notice that sensation and then bring your thoughts right back to the breath, again, without judging yourself. All right, so finding your tall, dignified seated position, feet flat on the floor, shoulder blades back and down. Let's begin. So let's take a slow breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Notice how it feels. Maybe the rise and fall of the shoulders or the chest or the belly. Notice how the air feels as it leaves your nose. Maybe you feel it on your upper lip or inside your nose. And notice if your mind has wandered. And if it did, just label that thought as wandering and pull your thoughts right back to the breath. And if your mind has wandered, once again, notice where your thoughts went and pull them right back to the breath. And if your mind has wandered, feel a little squirmy, just notice that and pull your thoughts right back to the breath. And now take a big breath in and sigh. And how was that for you? Some students new to the practice report feeling kind of antsy or itchy. Sometimes they feel pretty sleepy, and a lot of times that has to do with how much sleep you're actually getting, which is another topic for another time. Some people feel relaxed. Some experience a busy mind and have really a lot of difficulty bringing their thoughts back to the breath. And sometimes environmental noises get in the way of concentration. These are all normal reactions and can vary in your environment from day to day, and they can vary for you from day to day. But if you practice daily or almost daily, you'll feel more at home with it, and you'll notice that 2 minutes goes by really quickly. And when you get to the point where 2 minutes is easy to do, you could do at a minute, you know, and see how that goes. Now, for many of us, or for some of us at least, sitting and breathing is not your favorite pastime. This was just way too slow and way too sedentary for you. So there are lots of ways to practice mindfulness training. There's mindful eating, walking. We just did the visualization technique with the box. Mindful movement, things like yoga or Tai Chi. There's a wonderful loving kindness practice that's on our website. Mindful coloring, which when we're all on campus is available to you at any time that the admin building is open. And we also have the stop technique, and we're going to do that one next. That's a good one for students to learn. So the stop technique is very helpful in stressful situations. Many of our students find it helpful to do before exams or speeches or at any other anxiety-producing times. As you can see, it's an acronym. So the S stands for stop what you are doing. T for take a slow breath and breathe in and out. S stands for, O stands for observe how you feel. And P means proceed with what you were doing. So observing how you feel can refer to mental or emotional reactions like fear, anger, or frustration. But they can also refer to physical signs like shaking, sweaty palms, racing heartbeat, and so on. The beauty of trying the stop technique when you aren't anxious is that you can get really adept at noticing what feeling good feels like in order to notice what feeling anxious feels like. You know, as a culture, we've been conditioned to ignore our bodies and minds to the point where we ignore hints that could lead to earlier relief of medical or mental health problems, right? So let's give this a try. So find your tall, seated, dignified position. Stop what you're doing. Take a slow breath in and out. And now observe how you feel. Feel your belly. Feel maybe the back of your neck. Feel if your hands and feet are cold or warm, if they're comfortable. Notice if you have a racing heart or sweaty palms or things like that. Just notice how you feel, kind of a little quick head to toe. And then proceed with what you were doing. As you practice this, and you saw how fast it is, it only takes like a minute to do it, you might need to tweak it to make it work for you. For example, one of our students added another breath after observing how he feels, because what he found out was when he observed how he felt, it made him feel anxious more, right? So we added that slow breath in and out, and that made him feel calm again, and he was able to proceed, especially in things like, you know, taking tests or just uncomfortable interpersonal situations. So it's just good to know it can be used for lots of different uncomfortable situations. And if you like this method, if it felt good to you, then you might like to try the body scan practice, which is lesson 3 of our mindfulness training series. So mindful coloring is another great way to practice mindfulness. And as I said before, when we're all on campus, we have mindful coloring stations in the admin building open space. But for now, while you're at home, you can easily find this kind of design. It's called a mandala. You can find it online and just print them out to color. Some of them are quite elaborate. Ours are all pretty simple. So several studies show that mindful coloring helps with anxiety, depression, and stress management. The research seemed to show that coloring an existing design is more effective than drawing a new design, and that coloring a mandala, which is like a repetitive pattern design, is more effective than a picture of a specific object. And also that the longer you do it, the more effective it is. So I've seen 20 to 30 minutes as the most common suggested length of time. When we're back on campus, as I said, you can come to the admin building and use our colored pencils and our designs there. But try it at home. Use nice sharpened colored pencils if you have those available to you, or use a big design that you don't need to have such sharp pencils to. Alrighty. So what are some benefits that students could gain from practicing mindfulness? Well, a regular practice benefits students by improving focus in the classroom and while working on assignments, reduces anxiety around test taking, it's great for stress reduction and much more. Maybe you can think of other benefits. How do you think you as a college student could benefit? And how does mindfulness training benefit anybody, even non-students? In general, a regular mindfulness practice offers improved health, even if you have a chronic illness like diabetes or lung disease, or even people with cancer have had really excellent benefits of just improved state of being and improved health. It helps with emotional balance, it helps with clarity, a greater sense of appreciation of yourself and others, and a greater balance between work, school, home, social, and societal lives, which is a really big concept that young adults are working on in addition to academic, progress. So it's really helpful to anyone. So how do I get started? Well, when we're on campus, we have mindfulness training twice a week in person, and you don't have to sign up. You don't have to have any experience, but if you have a lot of experience, we love to have you come anyway. Now, however, we're not holding in-person mindfulness training, but as luck would have it, we do have it available online. So once again, you just go to the Student Health Center button and press it, and that will take you to our web page. And you can either click on wellness or you can click on mindfulness training online, and voila, that will take you to our mindfulness training webpage. So you have essentially already completed the Start Here activities. So unless you want to share it with somebody else, you could go right to session 1. And that's a breathing practice similar to the one that we just did, but there are varying lengths. So if you find that you like the guided practice, the voice kind of telling you, kind of guiding you through it, there are a couple of different ones that are shorter on there, but a little bit longer than 2 minutes. And then if that's not your cup of tea, remember that you could do the body scan practice that I talked about. Session 2 is the loving kindness one I was telling you about, self-appreciation and the appreciation of others. For the mindful eating is session 4, and there are a couple of different really great practices in there. There's a visualization, there's mindful walking, and then there's a long breathing practice too. So when you ramp up to the point where you can do a 15 or 20 minute practice, that's the one for you. And then the last one is a mindful movement class, and it's 10 mindful movements that are great practices for you, especially if sitting and breathing is not quite your cup of tea. Well, I want to thank you very much for your time and your attention, and I hope that this has made you interested in trying mindfulness. If you have any questions for me at all about the Student Health Center or about mindfulness training, please don't hesitate to email me at abarton@vcccd.edu. And remember that the phone number for the Student Health Center is 805-378-1413. We are there to help you even when we're not on campus, and we'd be delighted to have you come visit us, at least virtually. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks so much.